Welcome to Fulcrum Intel Digest, the podcast.
Today, we're embarking on a really crucial and, frankly, quite sobering journey. We're diving deep into this report, Hearts and Minds, Al-Shabaab's Propaganda Machine. It's authored by Cara Rau, an intelligence analyst specializing in African jihadism.
We cover more topics like this every Monday and Friday. So if you'd like to stay up to date, click the subscribe button and give this video a like. Now let's jump in.
Now, for those who follow these things, al-Shabaab, well, they don't need much introduction. A formidable group, mainly in Somalia, East Africa, known for their extreme ideology, their brutal tactics. So let's unpack this a bit. Our mission today is really to pull back the curtain on how al-Shabaab isn't just, surviving. They seem to be thriving by mastering digital influence. This report shows a propaganda machine that's so sophisticated, it's actively shaping narratives, recruiting, and kind of shockingly, even indoctrinating children. We'll look at their main AV producer, Al-Khatib Media Foundation, and their online news site, Shahada News Agency. We want to show you how they do it and maybe why it works.
Yeah, and what's really striking right from the start, the report's bottom line up front says it clearly. Al-Shabaab has one of the most organized, most effective propaganda machines among all jihadist groups. Globally, this isn't just like random messages or quick videos. It's planned, it's strategic, multi-platform, multi-language. They use everything, pro videos, encrypted apps, local radio, even community gatherings, and they tailor it, Somali, Oromo, Amharic. They really understand the local cultural nuances, the grievances. It really highlights how these groups have evolved, how they exploit the media landscape now.
It really does put it in perspective. It's not amateur hour, is it? It's a professional media operation. And what's crucial for you listening is to see how this actually plays out. We're going to look at their recent content, show you how they construct their reality, often with a very specific and often dark agenda. Okay, let's start with Al-Khatib Media Foundation. This is their main producer, right? High-quality audio-visual content. And it goes beyond just reporting military stuff. They're actively working to legitimize what al-Shabaab does.
Indeed. The report details how they frame their actions. It's always about defending Islam from threats apostates in the Somali government, the Western world seeking its destruction. It's a classic tactic, isn't it? Create an external enemy, position yourself as the protector. It taps into basic human instincts, belonging, identity, self-preservation. But the report shows al-Shabaab goes further. They weave religious duty with historical grievances, and it makes it almost impossible for their target audience to separate faith from the call to violence. It's powerful psychological manipulation, preys on deep fears and loyalties.
That makes a lot of sense, especially given the region's complex history. But it's not just the core ideology. The report shows how Al-Khatib adapts to current events. For instance, they recently put out these really strong condemnations of Ethiopian airstrikes in Somalia, Middle Shabelle, Lower Shabelle, Middle Juba regions. They were quick to claim civilians were killed, women, children, elderly property destroyed. They even released names of alleged victims.
And here's where the narrative manipulation is key. So, the Somali Minister of Defense said publicly, these strikes targeted al-Shabaab strongholds. But al-Shabaab's statement, totally different angle, accused the Somali government of complicity, said they were using Ethiopian crusaders, and they explicitly call them the traditional enemies of the Somali people, to massacre Somalis. This isn't just politics. It's a very clear, powerful nationalist and religious appeal designed to inflame, divide, delegitimize the government and its allies. Using terms like crusaders, linking it to old animosities, it taps into a deep well of distrust.
Right. And they don't just leave it there, do they? They follow up that accusation with a direct call to action, urging all Somali Muslims, especially the youth, to take up arms, defend themselves from this infidel alliance of crusaders and apostates. It's textbook recruitment, weaponizing suffering. They exploit people genuinely affected by government actions, funneling that grief, that anger right into their cause, positioning themselves as the only true protectors.
Absolutely. And this raises a huge, huge question for counter-radicalization work, for peace building. How do current programs deal with this specific tactic? How do you reach and support young people who've suffered or feel they've suffered because of government actions before al-Shabaab scoops them up? It's a fundamental challenge. Needs deep community engagement, very localized responses.
Definitely. Moving on from condemnations, Al-Khatib also covers their own military ops extensively. Another big feature recently was their reporting on seizing the strategic town of Masajid Ali Gadoud. That was Middle Shabelle region, March 26, 2025. They put out loads of images, captured soldiers, killed soldiers, seized weapons. But the details were vague, like a multi-directional attack led to the capture.
Yeah. And this public display of military success, it serves multiple purposes, all intertwined. First, demonstrate power, operational capability. That's a massive morale boost for supporters, a draw for recruits, project strength, effectiveness. Second, just as important, it intimidates opponents. Government forces, civilians caught in the middle, and the vagueness, like multi-directional attack, lets them control the narrative. They avoid specific, verifiable facts that could be challenged. They just tell the story they want. No external scrutiny.
So it's curating the information, not just reporting it. But Al-Khatib doesn't only focus on themselves or their enemies. The report notes they cover other regional news too, which I found kind of surprising. Like on March 27th, they reported on fighting between Fano and Ethiopian forces in the Amhara region, highlighted civilian casualties. And notably, they called Fano the Amhara Liberation Front. That's not an official name, is it? Though maybe used on social media sometimes.
It's a shrewd move, isn't it? If you look at the bigger picture, it's probably a subtle way for al-Shabaab to frame Fano as liberators, just like they frame themselves against apostate governments. Using Amhara Liberation Front, they try to lend legitimacy to another group fighting a government. It builds this broader sense of shared struggle against oppression. Maybe lays groundwork for alliances, or at least sympathy for similar movements. It broadens their narrative beyond just Somalia.
Interesting. And their reach goes even further into international politics. March 29th, Al-Khatib reported on a semaphore story, something about Somalia's government offering the U.S. exclusive operational control over strategic ports, supposedly to stop any U.S. recognition of breakaway regions, Al-Khatib's take, just called both Somaliland and Somali administrations apostates. They also mentioned reports about the Trump administration maybe recognizing Somaliland. And they even reported on the house arrest of South Sudan's VP, Riek Machar. Pretty neutral tone, almost like a regular news agency.
It shows they're remarkably aware of complex geopolitics, right? Staying current. But it's not just about being informed. Reporting these stories, even Machar's house arrest, neutrally, serves a key strategic purpose. It helps them look like a reliable, objective news source to their audience. The calculation seems clear. Build a reputation for unbiased international news, and then, when they do report their own stuff, their ideology, they seem more legitimate. It subtly makes the propaganda more palatable, more effective. It's a sophisticated play for credibility.
That's a fascinating tactic. Build trust with neutral stuff to deliver the core message later. Okay, let's shift to Shahada News Agency. This is a main online outlet for distributing Al-Khatib's content, right? Shahada is really prolific online. Lots of battlefield imagery, claiming attacks in Somalia, Kenya, Ethiopia, sharing leaders' speeches. It's like their digital shop window for the world. Shahada also had some notable themes recently. During Eid al-Fitr this year, they released footage from the Sheikh Bashir, Sheikh Yusuf training camp. Showed new recruits, military drills, looked very disciplined, motivated. And there was a speech from Sheikh Bashir, Sheikh Yusuf, explaining the camp's name, but also highlighting Somalia's undeniable legacy of struggle and jihad, pointing to historical wins against the British.
Yeah, this content is multi-purpose. First, inspire current fighters and potential recruits. Connect their struggle to this powerful, glorified history of resistance. Frame it not as radicalism, but as continuing a patriotic religious duty. Second, show they can still train recruits. Project strength, continuity, commitment, despite counterterrorism efforts. It's a strong visual. We're growing, we're strong, our fight is righteous.
And this leads to maybe the most disturbing thing in the report, highlighting just how low they'll stoop for recruitment. Among Shahada's recent stuff, there's this thinly veiled portrayal of child soldier recruitment, disguised as a crafts exhibition. On Eid al-Fitr, photos and a statement from Jilib, Middle Juba region, claimed it showed local crafts entertaining kids with play and competitions. Sounds harmless, right?
Sounds harmless, exactly. But the photos, they tell a very different, very disturbing story. Clearly showed boys, some really young, holding toy guns and what looked like real working weapons. So while the statement paints this innocent picture, al-Shabaab sharing images of kids with any weapons, toy or real, is almost certainly evidence they used this exhibition as a front for child recruitment, indoctrination. The psychological manipulation is just profound. Presenting weapons as play normalizes violence, militarizes childhood, and lots of women were there too, behind booths, and girls were present, even if unarmed. That's concerning given girls are often recruited as wives or for support roles that become exploitative. And the images showed al-Shabaab fighters openly present, made it clear who was running the show.
It really just underscores the urgent, desperate need for intervention to stop child recruitment in places like Jilib. It shows how al-Shabaab can operate openly with impunity among civilians, twisting community events into recruitment drives.
Indeed.
These images highlight a huge challenge for counterterrorism for humanitarian groups. It shows al-Shabaab isn't just hiding in remote areas. They're integrated into some communities, seemingly without fear of capture or much opposition. That level of control, integration, it's deeply worrying. Makes disrupting them incredibly complex. It's a stark reminder. Military solutions alone won't cut it. You need comprehensive community-based interventions. Critically needed.
And just like Al-Khatib, Shahada also publishes these seemingly neutral reports. Things like a translated BBC piece on Rwanda allegedly attacking Burundi, U.S. conditions for Syria sanctions relief, Riek Machar's house arrest again.
Right. Again, strategic purpose.
Yeah.
But for Shahada, it's maybe more about being a comprehensive media portal. Builds credibility, makes it an attractive one-stop shop for info. Their ideological content, the core propaganda, is then woven into this credible news fabric, makes it harder for some audiences to spot the bias. They might come for the international news, then get subtly exposed to al-Shabaab's narratives. It shifts perceptions over time. Powerful information warfare tool.
So as we kind of wrap up this deep dive, what's starkly clear from Cara Rau's report is, well, al-Shabaab isn't just a military threat. They are a formidable force in the information war. Far from defeated. We've seen compelling evidence, ongoing training, military successes like Masajid al-Gadood, all carefully packaged, spread through their very effective media outlets.
And critically, it's clear they keep recruiting, often through deceptive, horrifying means, like that crafts exhibition for child indoctrination. They maintain a robust, thriving online presence, Al-Khatib, Shahada. This really highlights a significant pressing need for innovative, multifaceted counter-radicalization strategies, ones that can actually tackle online recruitment effectively, because it keeps getting more sophisticated. Military action alone just won't win this.
Yeah, and this isn't just about understanding one specific group, is it? It's about understanding the universal power of narrative, how groups, even extreme ones, meticulously use media to achieve their goals: recruitment, legitimacy, intimidation. So maybe the next time you encounter information online, whatever the source, just consider the framing, the subtle messages, the deliberate ways it might be trying to influence you. These media machines aren't just reporting, they're actively building realities.
Absolutely. The report is a powerful reminder, isn't it, how vulnerable populations can be to these carefully crafted narratives in our digital world. It raises a big question for all of us, I think. When propaganda is just a click away and packaged to look credible, how do societies effectively protect vulnerable people? And maybe more broadly, how do we foster the media literacy, the critical thinking skills people need to tell truth from manipulation? What really stands out to you from today, thinking about the insidious power and reach of these modern propaganda machines?